of 2.5 Oyajis. Here I am with Hikosaemon in white.
Yes.
In white,
I'm the man in white.
Representing white bread.
Representing white bread and general corporate interests of the world.
And damn proud of it.
Yes.
Okay, we'll kill that. Oh, sorry. Of course. Come on. There we go. Sorry about that.
And your speaker's off, Victor.
Damn it. I will never start a show perfectly. Hey, it's 11 p.m. on a Wednesday night, and as you probably know, Hiko, why don't you introduce our today's topic here?
Yeah. So today we are going to be doing a live stream for 4,000 hours, or until Victor gets 1,000 extra subscribers, and or both. Because those are the rules now. You have to do this every time you do something on YouTube now, apparently. The new rules for partnership and monetization got announced overnight by Google. And inevitably, all of the snowflakes and social justice warriors like Victor are up in arms and anger and panic that once again, corporate interests. Well, actually, what's really happening is this Logan Paul dickhead scandal guy, right?
Right.
Is that his name? Logan Paul?
Logan Paul.
Yeah. So, he took a video of a dead guy, and we all have to suffer for it. Google's taking our money away.
Yes.
Now,
you might think, yes.
That's a basic summary of it. They made these new rules where basically the new criteria are Victor.
Okay. Well, let's back up a little bit. Until now, the criteria was if you started a channel, you needed 10,000 views on that channel before you could be monetized. That was until today.
10,000 views. Okay.
10,000 views. Okay. I believe, and please correct me if I'm wrong. I am a moron. The new rule is you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 viewing hours or hour time. Your channel, your videos must have been viewed by at least one person for 4,000 hours.
Yeah, so if you viewed your own videos for 4,000 hours, well, you'd still need the subscribers. So it's a good way of stopping that. But if you got 1,000 people to watch, what is it? 1,000 people to watch a 4-hour video, to watch a 4-hour video, then you'd do it. So, yeah, that basically any breakdown of that criteria over a 12-month period, and you get monetization. But without that, so just paying for a whole bunch of subs, or paying for a whole bunch of people to click on your video and make pay for views, or people who do clickbaity sort of things, which people go in and realize they're getting scammed and going away right away. You can see they're probably trying to think of these things to make sure you're getting genuine engagement on your channel. And then there's also like a human check, right?
Human check? What do you mean?
They actually
yes. They will actually look at your channel to make sure that your name is not Logan Paul.
Yes.
Or his brother. Yeah. Or a Logan Paul wannabe. Yeah, they'll check their video and your channel, and if it's verified, then you're okay.
Yeah. So this is completely outrageous, and the world is coming to an end. I think that's your conclusion, right, Victor? And if you think that, I'm just going to disagree with you because...
Well, since it is coming to an end, there's no point in doing anything except drinking. So this is Australian rum from our good friend. Do you know who this is from?
Australian rum. Is it from Queensland? Where's it from?
Yes. Well, one of your subscribers and mine sent this to me.
Yeah. Is that from
Yes, from him.
The guy in Australia, the Regan. Is that from Regan?
No, not Regan. Your subscriber and my subscriber. He what's his name? Sean? I suddenly forgot his name.
Oh, Sean Bro.
Yeah, Sean Bro. Yeah, Sean Bro.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, Bundaberg rum. That's cool.
Yes, good stuff. And I'm going to be joining Patrick Ekstrom for a drink here.
Yeah.
So hold on, let's back up a little bit. Yeah. So I want to point out a couple of things that people will try, and that is the sub for sub scam, not sub for sub policy. Remember that? A few years ago, people were doing the sub for sub. You sub to me, I'll sub to you, and
the early days of YouTube, that's all that YouTube pretty much was. Like half the time, half the comments you'd get were sub for sub. You got a sub, bro?
There we go. It's very good. Oh yeah, it's nice, very strong. So yes, that used to be, and that's some people say that's coming back now. That's possible. I don't think there's anything really wrong with that. It used to bother me, but it's fine. It's like Twitter. I do that on Twitter. Usually, if you follow me, I'll follow you. Or on Instagram, no big deal. So that's one thing people are going to try. Another thing that people are going to try, of course, as you mentioned, is going to buy subs, which YouTube might find out about, might not really big deal, because in the end, that's not going to make any money anyway. You know, and if you're
well, they changed the criteria. So back in the day when people figured out that if you got lots of clicks or you got lots of subs or whatever, people would figure out ways to cheat and game the system, and you could supposedly go and pay for these things and do all sorts of things to get around it. And it's like cat and mouse. I understand from the people I've talked to at Google, and as they figured out ways that people are gaming the system, they try to find it and find ways to shut it down. And they've gotten smarter and smarter at shutting it down. And this is partly why they switched from just looking at how many subscribers you had, or even how many clicks and how many views you had, to actually checking engagement, checking that how long are those people staying on your videos and finding you interesting enough to stay on, which means that when you're paying for those clicks, you're not just paying somebody, to click for a couple of seconds. You actually have to, if they're going to pay for it, it becomes impractical. Because they're actually going to have to sit there and sit through this entire live stream,
Right.
At which point, not only is it going to be expensive, but they're going to hate you and they're never going to work for you ever again, right? So, yeah, by that point, it's a legit view.
You can buy the clicks, but it's pretty, and you could buy the hours, but it'd be pretty expensive.
Yeah. And the point is, that's it. They want real engagement by real people, and I think that this criteria. So the first thing I have, so this criteria, like I'm going to start being the man now. Okay, I'm going to be the corporate guy. To me, two things about this. I think this is good for two reasons.
Okay.
One.
Remember, this is a white.
White bread.
White man.
White man. I cannot.
How things are.
I cannot jump, but as the white man, I feel like I need to tell you how it is. Share my privilege, which is that back in the day, when monetization, first of all, there was no monetization, there was no partnership, there was nothing. And then there was autoplay. And people would donate organs to get autoplay, or a banner, like a custom banner, right?
Right. It was a gift. Oh, you got autoplay, you're a good channel.
Autoplay, whatever you could, and you would feature. I mean, Victor was the autoplay guy. He would I
would feature other people
channels by featuring other people with his autoplay and giving them the autoplay when people came to his channel. And that was a big deal. And people would say, thank you, man. And then when YouTube, I think you needed 1,000 subscribers, which back in the day was quite a large number of subscribers. Then they introduced,
just so people can understand, Reneto was top 10 and he had 8,000 subscribers.
Yeah,
he was top 10.
Yeah. So then when there was quite a high threshold for subscribers, and it was people would have many celebration parties. Hey, I just got partnered. Hey, I got this. People would actually start donating their nuts for this. They would go seriously, and this was something that fostered a sense of goals. This is something that people strive for. People would talk about that. They'd email people like Victor and I saying, "Hey, what do you think I need to do to get my channel into where it can be a partner channel?"
Right.
And people would come up to the parties, people would exchange information, people would support each other. And in a way, it was good that Google democratized, that Google said, okay, monetization for everybody, partnership for everybody, go and get excited. But it kind of took all the excitement away. I mean, the fact is now YouTube probably has 1 million channels that earn $1.50 a month. So the money's not really enough to be meaningful. The people who come on don't really have any real reason to sort of engage. There's no real goals to strive for other than making more or less money, and that goes up and down, and changes all the time.
Well, I don't know about that. It's difficult to tell why people, do it. Some people just share their videos with their family, or they're doing experiments, or some people are artistic,
But the way I see it with this, I think one benefit of this is that I think they're bringing goals back for new video makers and small channels to sort of strive for. Well, right now, there's no real goals anymore, right? There's no reason to cooperate. There's no reason to try to get legit views and legit subscribers or whatever. People can come on and do clickbaity videos and do all sorts of stuff. So I'm hopeful. I think that there is probably an intention to try to get back that kind of enthusiasm for growing a channel. And the other thing I think that they're doing is, I think that that's criteria. Having it elevated means, frankly, as much as people are going to scream blue murder that they're losing their $1.50 a month for their small channel, hopefully this is going to motivate people to get to that threshold. And for the people who make that threshold, all of that long tail money that's being shared in small amounts amongst a whole bunch of people who, probably don't care that much about it, that's going to be probably, I would expect, redistributed among the earning channels,
right?
Which is probably going to make it a better deal for the serious creators, which again increases the desire to become one of those channels. So
and the competition.
Yeah, it gives people something to go for. I think it's good to have. I think missing a goal in YouTubing is, I think, part of what's taken a little bit of the magic out of YouTubing in the last few years. There's just been nothing. There's been nothing to be like, I want to make a partner channel within 1 year. I don't want to.
The other thing, Hiko, and not to disagree with you.
No, disagree with me,
but,
please. I'm trying to be. I'm going to become more and more outrageous.
You and I have been here for a long time, so when we talk about taking the magic out of, I don't know if that is true, because someone who's just come along and has just joined, like we were talking about Stu earlier, right? Stu in Japan, now called Where is Stu? He started a few years ago. I can't really say that he feels the same way. Maybe he feels that YouTube is a magical place, or people who are watching our video right now, maybe they still think they have that feeling that this is great, this is fun, I'm going to make some money and I'm going to have a lot of fun. But you and I mean, I've been here over 11 years now, so I don't know. Our viewpoints might be different on that. But
well, and the thing is, I mean, back when we used to like chop wood and have to walk everywhere or ride horses, and people would have to fax us.
We used to have to fax our videos up.
Yeah, they would actually. The subscriptions were like sent by post, and you had to fax in the videos to YouTube. It was painful.
Yeah.
We back when we started, we did it for the love. There was no money involved in it, right? And it was fun. It was fun being poor. I know, Victor, you're like Scrooge McDuck rolling around in all the YouTube money now, but do you really feel like it's as fulfilling as it was back in the day?
I miss a lot of the interaction. I mean, I still get a lot of interaction, but I miss a lot of the other interaction, because there was more interaction between other people who had their faces on camera.
Yeah. So flip it around. So Victor, tell me why I should be outraged because I don't see it.
Well, no, I'm sorry, I can't really pretend. But I'll tell you what my initial.
Get angry, Victor. Get angry. The people want you to be angry.
My initial response was, YouTube is punishing everybody because Logan Paul, and they're going to lose a lot of money too.
Yeah, they're making everybody victims because of one dickhead.
Right. But
I'm going to argue against myself if I have to.
But after talking with you about this, I realized, I've even not that you actually said anything, but just bouncing ideas off you. I was like, you know what? What's going to happen is that they're going to take monetization away from a lot of people, but those are fairly minor channels. But if anything, that will increase the amount of money going to the channels that are making money, because that ad revenue is still out there. But you pointed out that because of Logan Paul, advertisers are going to be more wary in the future, so that might decrease advertising income.
So you see this as an opportunity for yourself to steal money from small channels?
Yes, I'm very happy about that. Phil Nolan,
how do you sleep at night?
You're not gonna, you're not making money, but I'm gonna be making the money that you're missing. So I'll tell you what, I'll buy you a beer if I ever meet you. No, well, that's what's gonna. Of course, not like me, but there's other channels that are much bigger. But it's always been that way. It's always been a kind of what's the expression? Is it zero
capitalism?
Yeah, well, yeah, capitalism too, of course. But at first, I thought it would hurt everybody. But there's some points. Let me
Well, okay, I'm going to go the other way. If you're not going to do it, I'm going to argue against myself now.
Hold on, though. We don't have to just argue. Let's just clarify some things for people, so people can understand things. Okay?
No, let's not clarify. Let's muddy the waters.
I have a calculator here, because here's one of the problems with this post. This post is 4,000 hours, but they don't tell you how many hours you have on your channel. They tell you in minutes. But so people can understand what that means, 4,000 hours means 240,000 minutes in the last 6 months. And if you divide that by 6, it's only 5. It's not that much. Oh, I'm losing light here. But anyway, it's not that much. And something that Life Where I'm From. Do you remember his name? I've met him, but I forgot his name.
Life TV.
Life Where I'm From. He does he does great videos about Japan.
So wait a minute. So just going through a sample of the people's comments. I've got Phoenix here, the Hanami co-creator, and he's saying, problem is videos demonetized won't be easily searched, which will stifle people from growing. It's not about the money at this point. So he's worried that YouTube's only going to feature and make more searchable videos that are monetized. So smaller channels are going to have trouble getting momentum.
I don't think that's true. I think they only make unsearchable the videos that are adult or that have broken some rules. I don't think that's true.
But it does make sense. I mean, you've seen how the algorithm works. They recommend, they're the algorithm to recommend and push videos that are already popular, right, or already on sort of commercialized channels. So
that's true.
The chances of Bob Goes Fishing getting found is probably why would Google promote a video like that over professional Bob hooks a marlin. But you know what? Again, if you Google, I mean, that's kind of that kind of makes sense as well, right? But sure, there's probably going to be a higher barrier to a threshold to cross for getting discovered. But there again,
But
I mean,
it won't stop. It didn't stop us back in the day.
it certainly
Right?
didn't. I mean, we made terrible videos. I mean, I remember Caffeine Jedi, who was one of my favorite YouTubers because she's just so animated and so engaging, and she talks so well. She made. I remember the first video she made. She was literally in a sleeping bag in a closet with like a foggy webcam, screaming at the camera. It was like the worst video, like in terms of production quality, I've ever seen. And I just subbed to her, and she's like one of my favorite YouTubers. But you could kind of get away with that back then. It's harder to do that.
Yeah, it's hard to do that. I think you can still get away with something like that, but it depends on the content, of course. But I want to point out that it's not, this 240,000 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
How much is that in money?
240,000 minutes.
Yes.
Well, there we go. So, and a friend with 5,000 subs that uploads regularly is barely crossing that threshold. Well, so this is the point, though. Just mass producing videos, the point is Google is looking for people with a certain degree of engagement, right? Mm-hmm. Which means that if you're making videos that are not getting attention, it means that either you've got to be more social and more savvy about promoting your channel, i.e., in the day we used to do that through community type stuff, or you've got to figure out how to up your production value, ask questions, do polls, do all that stuff that they put in the playbook,
right?
And not everybody is necessarily gonna get there, but I don't think it's that high threshold. And if someone's got 5,000 subs and they're not getting 4,000 view hours, yeah, they have to sort of look at their game a little bit. I mean, that's the idea. Now, I think that's what YouTube's trying to incentivize. And hell, they're hosting the platform and paying out the money. So why shouldn't they? I don't think it's a high threshold.
No, I don't. I agree with you. I don't think it's that high. I don't think it's that hard to get to. You can do it.
Yeah.
And even if you don't, I mean, if you think about it, it's not that much money. So people are actually complaining about something that's quite a minor number. Now, I did point out to Hiko that what would annoy me is if I had a new channel, if I just started a channel, and I made 10 videos, and then my 11th video went viral. I got 1 million views on it, but it wasn't monetized. I miss out on all that money. But you pointed out.
I pointed out that in the day, one, people normally only get one viral video, and when they get that one viral video, to me, back in the day when monetization and partnership was more of a reward, that was it. That was like you made it. That was like the celebration. You achieved the goal. You get to turn on monetization. You get the congratulations and the handshakes and the cigars and the faxes. Because back in those days, that meant that you crossed it. And on top of that, then you get the monetization. So the thing was, you really felt like you achieved something. Whereas now you've got people who've got monetization from practically day one. And they're all kind of like, always trying to figure out, well, how do I grow my brand? How do I do this? And they're all kind of trying to do it by themselves now. There isn't any sort of community or any sort of team thing really around, trying to grow channels in the way that they used to be. It used to be like a big deal when someone will make a video that would take off. The Christmas in Japan video.
Right, yeah.
Remember that? Remember how excited, how 100 people contributed clips for it, how it did go viral, how everyone was super excited for
who was it? Who did the first one?
Yeah, I mean,
Fat Blue Man.
How everyone got really excited for them and everything like that. And it really was. I mean, remember, we kept checking the counts on the video as well because we were excited for Fat Blue Man. And we were all swapping messages with him. And he was like totally like he was on drugs, high from it.
Oh, that's right. He was going crazy. And there was no money involved.
And there was no money. There was no money. So I don't know.
Just like, congratulations. Yeah. Those were the old days.
Those were the old days. And kind of in a way, I mean, if that's what gets you, hey, welcome to the club. Now you've got 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours thanks to that wonderful viral video. Now go and make more of those, which is a very hard thing to do. But I think that's a type of motivation that I feel has kind of been lost in it being just sort of too easy to be monetized.
So you think this is kind of a hard love?
Yeah, I can see that this will have
tough love.
Tough love. I think people need a little bit of goals. They need something to strive for. I think having a goal, I mean, it's like on a video game or on anything, going for, even if it's a superficial reward, getting that autoplay, getting that banner.
Right.
The absence of those things, I think, has made YouTubing a little bit more boring and a little bit less community-oriented than it used to be. I think those are the things that play into it. And I wonder if Google is deliberately thinking about, if they're thinking about this is an excuse, not just because Logan Paul's a dickhead, but maybe they're thinking that this is a way to sort of reintroduce the idea of having a certain bar and a
Right.
certain way of motivating and incentivizing creators that's not really there right now.
Well, I mean, that could be completely true, but their email basically says that they're covering their asses. Did you read the email? I put it in the description.
Yeah.
Right. It says they basically got to make sure that they got to protect their advertisers. People are paying for advertising, and they want to make sure that their adverts don't appear alongside some bullshit, right?
Yes.
like a Logan Paul video.
Yeah.
So that's another reason for it. And just to remind people, the market, YouTube is barely, if we don't even know, but it's possible they might be breaking even or making a little bit of money now. But for the past since Google bought it, they've been notorious for losing money every single year.
But also remember the apocalypse, for example. People make dickhead sort of videos, and advertisers will say, "Hey, we're pulling all of our money from the platform until they improve standards."
Right.
You know, it's not a democratic. It's not a democracy. The platform, it's a business, right? It's not like, you know. And if they lose too much money on it, we could lose the whole thing. So it's good for everybody, even the people who don't make monetized videos, to have people up there making money. And keeping advertisers happy because it supports the whole platform. So, you know, it's natural for YouTube to want to incentivize and reward creation that attracts and fosters revenue, right? And everyone gets the payoff from that. I remember, again, Phoenix was one of the voices, people saying, well, this is just censorship. This is them trying to penalize people for making controversial content and rewarding people for making boring, bland, you know, Rice Krispies advertising friendly material. But that's a choice everyone always has. I mean, no one's going to stop you from saying you're not going to be censored from to a reasonable degree anyway from making an outrageous saying, you know, women shouldn't work, or, you know, everyone on YouTube should look like me, or something like that. You know, you can go and express those views and get a lot of, you know, rage clicks and all that sort of stuff. But sure, you're not going to get ad money for it. But you've got the choice. You're not being blocked from doing that necessarily, unless you go too far with it. But the point is, if you want to make money, you got to be commercial about it. I mean, that's just the truth.
But and there's always those channels who make money using Patreon. I mean, you can make those kind of videos, and you can ask your subs to support your Patreon. And there are a lot of channels who do that.
Yeah, and people who get, and again, the people who get sponsored, the people who do, there's all sorts of ways that people get revenue. And this is one thing, again, with the absence of YouTube really providing these goals anymore, people are now going to these MCNs and they're getting tie-ups, and they're actually doing all of these things on their own. But again, to me, that's I respect that. But I think that's taking kind of the fun and the game element of YouTube out.
Yeah,
I hope that this might do something to bring that back.
Yeah, I don't like the whole MCNs. I feel like you're competing with professionals, and it's not fun.
Yeah. So since you're not appropriately outraged, please allow me to fully switch back. So, look, this is just another case of Google looking out for corporate interests and looking to squash it's showing that Google doesn't care about the little guy, right? They're setting this threshold that's going to kill the whole long tail, which is what, you know, the platform's supposed to be about. What draws people to YouTube is the long tail, that anybody can come on and start making money from videos and do something with it. And they're just
what's that expression you're saying? The long tail?
Yeah. So
I've never heard that before.
You've never heard of the long tail?
No. What's the long tail?
The long tail is traditional media focuses on having just a few channels with a lot of content that generates a lot of money. And, you know, so for example, you take the music industry, the bands that make the top 100 charts, right, that make 90% of the money in the music industry, they only represent about 1% of all the bands out there, but they make like 90% of all the money, right? And so as the tail is the highest earning, you know, Morning Musume or AKB at the top makes all this money. Right. Immediately the curve of earning as you go along gets lower and lower, and then you get this really long end tail of people who hardly earn anything, but there's a lot of them. That's called the long tail.
And we've just cut off the long tail today.
Yeah, so technically, you know, we are somewhere in the long tail in a way. We are not, you know, ready to be pushed into mass media or TV necessarily, although I disagree with that respectfully. But you know, all of these small channels, the whole idea of YouTube is the platform. Google is giving a platform where we can sit on the same platform as AKB or the big users. You know, it's not like there's a filter of, you know, how many people get on the 4 channels. Right. It's you have 1 million people posting videos, and everyone's got a chance to earn money from it. And you could argue that this is kind of YouTube becoming more of the man, right? It's becoming more corporate, more screw the little guys, cut off the long tail, when this is supposed to be all about the long tail. So you could say this is a betrayal of trust. from Google and selling out all the small channels. What do you say to that? You were disagreeing with me a minute ago, so now you have to continue to agree with me by disagreeing with it. They're screwing me, man. They're taking away my YouTube money.
I don't think they're screwing anybody. I think I agree with you. I think that people have to, if they really want to make it, they have to just work harder. That's all there is to it. You know, it can be done. You know, if I can do it, you can do it. One of the appeals, I think, one reason I appeal to
James Brown, like what's this pull yourself up by the bootstraps and work harder bullshit? Come on.
Look, someone was saying Rachel and June are in the top 1%. I know Rachel and June. They work their asses off, and they put a lot of work into their channel.
Rachel and June tweeted earlier this evening. In fact, it was May tweeted earlier this evening that she knows a lot of small channels that work just as hard as the big channels, and she works very, very hard actually. So for her to say and acknowledge that,
I disagree.
I do as well, but I found it interesting that someone who I think works very, very hard at this is acknowledging that.
No, but there is a level. There's a Rachel and June level that they deserve. They're huge and they deserve all they got because they dedicated their lives to this. You know, I mean, I've got 5 jobs. I've got a bunch of jobs. I'm working here and there, all over the place, right? To make money. So YouTube is just one.
Standing on street corners,
selling the video. This is just one revenue stream. Now I wish I could, put everything aside and just do YouTube. But
here's a question: have you ever thought about dropping the other 5 jobs and doing what Rachel and June and those guys do, and just doing this? But that'd be a lot.
The problem is that I'm married to a Japanese, and most Japanese, and I know other people who are actually doing it who still have a lot of trouble with this. They do not respect YouTube as a respectable job. So you can't tell people I'm a YouTuber. You try it. Hiko. I'm a professional YouTuber. Like, well, that's not a real job.
Kids love the idea. You're like a hero.
Oh, I know. Kids love it. Yeah. But this is the first year in I don't know how many years that kids did not choose being a YouTuber as the number one choice.
Yeah.
Last year and the year before, when you ask children, what do you want to be when you grow up? They would ask them, they would answer, I want to be a YouTuber. This year, I think top answers were researcher, and I think baseball player was back for a while.
Is the boom over already? Really?
Yeah, the YouTube boom is over. So kids in Japan are not that into it anymore.
I was learning beatboxing and everything.
But anyway, back to this. There's a couple of things I want to bring up. Life where I'm from, because he's a big Japanese YouTuber. He's not Japanese, he's foreign, but he lives in Japan, and he's huge. If you don't know him, Hiko, Life where I'm from, he does homeless people in Japan, and he does these huge professionally. He's been making videos apparently for 20 years, and he's got a very good channel. Anyway, he points out, I want to read some of his tweets. He said YouTube is making it harder to monetize channels. I'm failing to understand how this is killing small channels. 4,000 hours might be equivalent to $100 to $200 in AdSense, and I think it's actually probably even less than that.
Well, let's consider this. There's maybe 3 or 4. What are the types of channels that will miss this threshold? First of all, there will be the channels that are trying really hard but not managing to get more than, are putting videos up every week, editing them but not getting more than 50 or 60 views on each video, right?
Right.
So the advice for those channels is maybe 2 things. One, maybe you want to consider doing some more live streams and some things that have longer. Yeah,
that's one thing we want to recommend is if you're worried, do live streams.
Yeah,
you get 10 people, do 1 hour. That's 10 hours.
It multiplies out, and because that's time engaged, and that's what YouTube values. They don't, they actually, you can make an MTV, highly produced 3-minute music video, and if that goes viral, that's great. But fact is that they want, how long eyes are on videos is what they're measuring, and if you're going to get 40 people to watch, longer videos, longer format, so long as you keep people engaged, is always going to work better. The other thing, of course, is YouTube has now. Anywhere on the internet, you could find all this great information on how to improve engagement on your videos and how to improve your video making in order to improve engagement. They give you all these graphs that show in your video. You can see where did people click away, where did people click on, what did people like, can you put up a poll? Exactly. All the tools are there. And if your channel is just below that threshold, and it's not a high threshold, there's a whole manual that thick of things that you can do to get over that threshold. And I agree, it's not that hard.
And it says in the letter that they send out to you that you're still you're still,
it's got a chance.
you can still access all that stuff. I mean, they're not going to block you because of that, right?
Yeah. So another type of channel, I guess, is someone who's maybe not trying so hard. Maybe they've got enough subscribers, but they're just not putting up enough content or whatever.
Right.
But they like making videos, so maybe once or twice a month they'll put up a video, and they were getting some nice income from all the accumulated old videos. That's another thing. People, old channels like us, where we've just lost motivation over time. I can imagine there'll be a lot of people sort of dropping off, but they make money from old videos. Now that's an interesting one. So when that monetization drops off, they might feel that, even though they're not quite as committed to it anymore. But there again, for that scenario, I still think, well, this might be a cause for reinvigoration and for thinking, well, do I want to lose my game again?
No, you're right, because it'll tell people, hey, you're going to lose your monetization.
Yeah,
if you're not careful. So
if you don't just let yourself go, just sit there on the sofa clicking and not really trying hard anymore, which is pretty much my whole YouTubing like for the last 5 years. If you let it go too far, you can lose it. It's a good excuse to stay motivated. And then I guess the other ones that are affected are people who really just never really properly get started. They sort of come in and out. But for those people, again, do they have any right to really be outraged?
No, they don't.
Okay, but the other cause for outrage is the idea that this clearly is a response to Logan Paul. So, fine.
There's someone in our conversation who disagrees, but it's pretty clear to me from when this has happened and what the actual email says, that, this is a response to that. And I want people to understand how much money is involved here. The TV market for advertising is $50 billion a year. If YouTube could grab even 1% of that, that's a huge amount of money. So it's definitely worth it, And of course, 10% is what they'd want.
Yeah.
But $50 billion, that's a lot of money, man.
Yeah.
I'm looking here. But so a lot of people are complaining about, well, this life where I'm from says, it's only $100, $200, and some people complain that, well, that's I need that money so I can keep my channel going because I need a new microphone, I need to buy equipment. But honestly, if you can't, it's honestly not worth doing YouTube.
I made my first microphone with like ice block sticks and chewing gum and rubber bands. That's all that I had, and I made a working USB microphone. And I went my first 2 years on YouTube with it. I mean, everyone who thinks that they can start YouTubing and feeding in right away,
it doesn't work that way.
I'm a little bit like this.
Hiko, how many years before you got your first paycheck?
It was about 2000. I think we started 2000. I started about 2007. It was around 2000, maybe late 2008 or 9. It was probably around 2 year mark, and it was when they started this. In fact, actually, so funny story. I guess I can share some of the information about now. At that time, I was a lawyer, and I was nervous about receiving income.
Oh, that's right. I remember that.
Because
in fact, you refused to monetize for that reason.
I had ethical obligations to not receive money from other sources as part of my work obligations, but I really wanted the other perks. I wanted the autoplay on the banner, but I didn't want the money, and I actually asked specifically for an exception so that I would get all those benefits with them not paying me. So it actually wasn't until I stopped being a law firm lawyer, when I went into the general world, I immediately flipped all the switches. But that was actually like 5 years later.
Okay, but you got it 2 years after you started.
I was entitled to it. Actually, I was actually on the list of among the first people around the same time as you that they came and approached me, and I said, I really want it, but I can't take the money. But can you give me everything else? And they accommodated me, which was really nice. Right.
Yeah. So I mean, a lot of us made videos for years without getting any money at all.
I had to ask them to not pay me. It was terrible.
That must have been pretty confusing and kind of a pain in the ass for them. But
it was kind of funny. It kind of worked out kind of well. Yeah.
But the point is, it's not that much money. And if you really need $100 and you live in the Western world, if you have access to a computer and you can't, $100 is nothing. If you need to buy a new microphone, go work at McDonald's for a couple of weeks and you buy a new microphone. It's actually faster than trying to make money on YouTube.
Did you actually just say, go get a job? Did you? Are you be suggesting haircuts next as well?
Yeah, because seriously,
Phoenix.
The haircut.
I'm not pointing anyone out, but if we're going to talk about getting here, so this whole thing, YouTube is there so that people don't have to get haircuts and jobs, right?
Hold on, but Phoenix says demonetized videos aren't searchable. I don't think that's true.
That's not true at all. I mean,
not true at all.
They don't get promoted. They don't get lifted up. But I don't know that they are delisted. That's not true.
They're not delisted. Yeah, I have demonetized videos on my channel that are searchable.
So, absolutely, actually, yeah.
Yeah, so that's not true.
That's an exaggeration.
Yeah,
but no question that the algorithm, in terms of what they propose as suggested next videos on those rabbit holes, sure, they're not going to. The odds of them proposing, a demonetized video with 20 views is pretty low. That's true. But if someone searches and you've got your tags and everything sorted out well and everything else, if you're doing everything else right, you might not come up at the top of the pile, but you won't be delisted. But I think there's an element of truth. I think the way that these algorithms are naturally designed to work is to recommend content that's recommended by other people, that's kind of verified by the mass audience, right? So they're going to promote more popular stuff that's already popular, which means that if you're not yet popular, there is a bar to crossing that popularity threshold. Maybe this will make that harder, but there again, well, this is the whole thing. How did we used to get around that? We get around that through community back in the day. We would support each other and support each other. And
everybody supported each other back in the day.
And that's how you find out about new channels. And we've kind of abandoned all of that. And so I don't know. I see opportunities.
Well, to be fair, part of that is the reason that you and I both didn't have kids when we started.
That is also true, right? Yes.
Well, I wasn't married when I first started, and I got married along the way,
Yeah, no, I feel like YouTube has kind of gone into middle age with us.
But I mean, to give people a little bit of hope, it's not that hard to get the 4,000 hours in 6 months. You can do it. And about the subs, sub to each other. And if you're watching, if you're not one of the YouTube makers and you want to support people, then sub to them, especially if they're under 1,000.
Sub for sub.
Sub for sub, or just sub to those people.
Yeah.
And if you need those subs, then ask for those subs.
I mean, I hope it makes people think more consciously about how they promote, how they connect out with other people and not try to do everything in these echo chambers and these things that I feel like people have gone a little bit towards. But who knows what's going to happen, And remember,
what do you mean by the echo chambers?
I mean, people just sort of trying to do everything in isolation from everybody else. People who show up at the YouTube parties, but they're not really interested in socializing because they've got their own plan about what they're going to do and how they're going to do everything. That's cool, and I respect that. But people would almost desperately want to make friends with everybody. And please remember to subscribe to my channel. Everyone used to be sort of like desperate shoe salesmen back at the original YouTube parties because they wanted to be liked and have everyone subscribe. That's kind of.
I kind of sneered at that. Like I wouldn't do that in my videos. And at first, I refused to say please sub. Yeah. Please comment. I just thought
controversial.
I thought it was selling out. But
let's go all the way back. Let's go back to 2006 and 2007 and e-begging, because that's what really started all of this, right? A couple of people figured out e-begging. In fact, I remember Apple Milk.
Sexy Phil
did it first, and then I remember when Apple Milk did it, and she sat there on a video where she was struggling at one point in her life, and she went on the video and she said, "Well, I have 30,000 subscribers out there," which back then was like the #2 channel in Japan. Right. And she said,
one of the top in the world.
Yeah. And I'm really having this tough time. And if you've ever enjoyed any one of the videos that I've made and I've put all this time into, and any of you think that that's worthwhile and you want to support me because I really need some help, and if you would just, if each of you would just give me $1 each, then I'd be able to get out of this situation. And it's a perfectly reasonable thing if you think about it objectively to ask for. And she did this logic, and it was kind of an untested concept, but she got so much shit for it. Like, oh, no, you're not supposed to ask for money on the internet. And she got so trolled for it. And it was kind of the whole stress around, well, don't they have a bit of a point that they're putting all this time and effort in, and Google's making the money from it, so why not share that with the creators? That was the whole rationale. But in a way, it was the people figuring out, why shouldn't I make money from this, and e-begging, and then this huge backlash against e-begging, and then people asking, well, why are people being forced to e-beg on a platform that's making money from them? But back in, remember, it all goes back to those people figuring out for the first time. They were the first ones to have the thought of getting money from YouTube. And it was something that you would get destroyed for wanting to make money on YouTube.
She actually said in the video, I know Give Me a Break Man's not going to like this, but
Shout out. There you go. And that was a popular video.
As soon as she did it, people came over to my channel and says, "You better attack her. You better rip her a new asshole." But the problem was, I knew her. I met her. My wife met her. My wife liked her. We felt sorry for her.
Cool.
I called her and I said, "Honey, you know, if you need help, you can come stay with us." My wife even said.
Here's the thing as well. I mean, I never told anybody at the time that I did this, but it's like Patreon. I paid. I went to her PayPal and I donated her a fair chunk of money actually as well.
Really?
Well, it was the first time I'd ever paid money to a YouTuber. It was Apple Milk, and it was for that video.
Really?
And she mailed me back and said thank you. But at the same time, it would have been really cool if I'd got on my channel.
You're a better man than I am.
If I'd got on my channel and said that I paid money to it because I figured, yeah, what the fuck, why not? You know, I would have been destroyed for that myself, for going along and endorsing e-begging, right? But now it's like we can't even be expected to make any videos without monetization. I mean, again, I sound old listening to myself. But we've come a long way, and I'm not suggesting going back to that at all, but I'm also suggesting that, you know, people have kind of forgotten that it's a privilege.
I have a guest, a surprise for you.
Oh.
Hiko?
Oh, no.
Yes. We have a guest. We have a guest accessing our channel right now.
Not that person.
No, that person. Who's that person? I think you'll be happily surprised.
Yeah.
When he pops in a minute. He's asked to come on the show, and he is a fairly large YouTuber. In fact, yeah, he's pretty big. He'll be on in a minute, and he'd like to share he's got something to say. So let's figure out what he's got to say. He'll be on.
Can't wait.
Anyway, I don't think it's that big deal, but there's something that is a big deal. If you live in a poor country and you're making $100 or $200 a month, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
$100 to $200. Did that work?
I mean, you could barely buy, 2 or 3 coffees in a whole month in New York on that. But yeah, you know, in most parts of the world, that still is actually meaningful money.
Yeah, in Peru, I don't know what it is now, but last I remember in Peru, the average salary was $5 a day if you were lucky. In Panama, cops were making $3 a day. I mean, this is 25 years ago. I don't know what it's like now, but
yeah.
But that's a lot of money, right? Average. So if you're from a shithole.
Here we go.
If you're from a shithole, then YouTube could be your ticket out. It really could. You know,
all the more reason to make your channel not a shithole, so that you get that ticket. You know.
Okay, in Peru, the average salary is $600 a month. So if you got $100, $200 extra coming in, that's pretty good.
That's a fair chunk of change.
Yeah. Here we go. There he is. He looks like God.
He does. And it sounds like he's saying something.
Jesus is black. I've heard it said.
Sorry. Stumbling. Yes.
Akasan.
Hello. What is up, guys?
How you doing? This is like a
outrage. The pitchforks and torches.
YouTube is
we're going to burn this motherfucker down. That's what we're going to do.
Good to see you, gentlemen, again. It's good to hear your voices.
This is Akasan, everyone. If you don't know Akasan, check him out.
Voice.
Oh, thank you. Let me turn on the webcam. That was the problem there. It should be good to go. No, cannot access. OBS is using it. That explains something. Sorry.
OBS is
I should have used. I'm sorry, Godfathers. I am so sorry. How embarrassing of Pinnacle.
OBS Kenobi, you are our only hope.
And there we go. Okay, I'm good to go.
Wow. Nice little studio there. I like it.
Thank you.
I like the camera position too.
I feel completely inadequate.
It is fashioned after you guys. You guys were my inspiration. So I'm getting better every day, Victor. I hope to one day be at your caliber of YouTube.
Oh, give me a break. You passed me not years ago.
No, but that's the thing. It's not, and this is relative. It's related to everything. It's not about the subscriber count. It's not about the views you get, but it's more about the impression you're leaving on YouTube as you move on and such. And for me, you will always be the godfather of J vlogging, and Unrested will always be the two people I credit in terms of when I was first starting my YouTube channel. How did I want to envision it? And I base a lot of it off of what I saw from you two guys. So you know.
And I'm glad. Speaking of Unrested, I'm glad he's back. He was.
I'm glad he's back too, because I missed hearing his talks. And it's I'm sorry, Scott of all people, Unrested of all people. I think he harbors the original YouTube feeling of what YouTube used to stand for.
Yeah, he was one of the first.
YouTube
first J-vloggers.
Yeah, but not even just J-vloggers, just using YouTube for what it was just a place you go on and online and you talk about something, basically.
Scott cares. He genuinely cares about what he talks about, and that was what in the day. That's all that there was. There was no money. There was no. It was
exactly
just people who were motivated to go on and share whatever that was on their mind, and that's what he's got, and that's what I respect about him. I think you're right.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's damn talented as a creator. He's made some damn good videos.
He is. When he puts his mind to it, he can really do it. But I think that's what happened. And Hiko, you talked about this a lot, and I mean, I think we all agree, because we all started without the intention of trying to make money on YouTube. Yeah. We just started because YouTube was just that portal for us to connect to people and talk about our lives in Japan. But when they started handing partnerships out like they were flyers, I think that kind of changed a lot of the people's thought process of like, oh, YouTube really is a place you can have a quote unquote career on YouTube. And yeah, I mean, I've been in agreement with you guys from the beginning. It's like this whole thing about you need 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours. It's a little weird, but you know, I was doing the math and I'm like, if you really are serious about it, if you're really serious, even if you're trying to get into YouTube for money, it's not that hard to achieve. If anything, if you're really starting YouTube to make money, this should be no problem to achieve this. If you're doing YouTube for fun, then you shouldn't really be thinking about the partnership.
It's not even an issue,
right from the beginning. Like, it's not that big of a deal for, you know. I don't think it's that much of a problem. I just I did a video on it a little bit earlier, and one of the things I wanted to really tell people was just, if you have a talent, if you have something you want to say, you know, just do it for fun on YouTube. And then when you start to realize you have an audience surrounding that thought process, then hone that skill, then market that skill, and make it unattainable that nobody else can do exactly what you do. And you can use that from YouTube, Twitch, Patreon, for you know, going on and on.
There are all these new ways to make money now. You don't really need to survive on YouTube. There's something else called Ko-fi. What is Ko-fi, by the way?
Ko-fi is basically where people can just give you gifts online, and like they call it coffee, basically. And a lot of my cosplaying friends use Ko-fi that way. So yeah.
Oh, son Kevin, cool.
Well, back in the day when people would ask me for advice, I would always tell them there's kind of, you always have the people who go on attempting to be the most popular person on YouTube from the beginning. Like, they think they've got the manual or whatever and try to copy somebody. Sure. And I always said, it never works. If you're not doing what you want to do week in, week out, all year, because it's a long game, you know, you have to be motivated to do it. In the end of the day, my philosophy's always been, I'd rather have 100 subscribers of people who I connect with and who enjoy my content and let me be myself on my own videos, than 100,000 subscribers on something I just can't sustain. And there are so many channels that used to go on these trajectories where they'd make a couple of videos and it was just so much work and they'd lose interest and they'd move away. And that's exactly what you're talking about. You got to be passionate about it on your own merits first, and then everything else will come with that.
Yeah. Let me put it this way. In some sense, okay, so I have Victor. He has 119,000 subscribers. I have around 160,000 subscribers. But there's a point to this. But here's the deal. I do a stream almost every week through YouTube, and I lose subscribers doing it from some sort of glitch. But here's the thing. I get about 80 people watching consecutively every stream I do. Right now, you rarely do streams, Victor, and you have 190 people watching. That's dedication. That's dedication. That's people that are basically tuned into you. And if right now, today, if Victor made some sort of video where he's saying, I'm going to stop doing YouTube, I just can't financially afford it, he would never do that. But I guarantee he could make $2 grand, $3 grand. Yeah. No, what I'm saying, this is my point, is that over the years, you've established a dedicated fan base that will do things for you that, like Hiko was saying, the people that are saying, hey, just start a channel, blah, blah, blah. You can be famous, blah, blah, blah. Those people won't be around if the times get tough. So it all depends on the kind of channel you want to create.
Yeah.
As such. Yeah.
What was your initial reaction to this, Akasan?
My reaction,
my initial reaction was negative, like, "Oh no, this is bad." But you know, after I calmed down a little bit, I thought,
"This is the man. This is corporate America beating up on the little guy. Come on, let's."
My initial reaction was, "Damn, well, that's not me." But my second reaction was like, "Oh, damn, my backup channels, oh damn, they're all going out. They're done."
Yeah, I'm wondering about that. I wonder if my backup channel is dead now.
Rachel Engine tweeted earlier tonight that one of her backup channels got one of the "you're no longer monetizable" notices, which she put up there.
Right.
She said, "Look, even happened to me."
But the thing is, she doesn't care. It's her gaming channel or something like that, something she doesn't really touch. And I think that's the biggest essence of it, is like my backup channel, I have the subscribers on there, but I don't have the hours on there. But here's the thing, I only put up like 5 videos that entire year, so it makes sense that I wouldn't have the hours in it.
That's like a whole Twinkie bar. You can't eat it anymore, though. That's the thing.
Well, but what I mean, you can't eat it, but it was never really that big of an issue. My thing, again, is the fact that if you have a particular goal, it's like trying to, I guess the best way I could phrase it, it's like starting a job and expecting a paycheck immediately. It's like, well, you got to put in some work first before you get that paycheck. You know, it's like, I don't think that's, I think if you have the drive, it's fine. And a lot of the people around me whose channels are being affected by this, the biggest issue is the fact that they only upload once a month, you know?
Well, and you know what? I've definitely got a bunch of Twinkie channels. And the fact is, I wouldn't have created those channels. I would never create a Twinkie scale channel for the Twinkie, right? I mean, that's nobody puts up a channel with like 2 videos a year or a bunch of old videos to just store up on a separate thing, you know, in the hope of getting $5 that they can go spend on a chocolate bar, you know. Right. And if you're really outraged about that, you're probably not doing it right.
Right.
So yeah, no, I think that's absolutely right. If you really care about your channel and you're not subscribed to that, there's so much information out there now. You know, 4,000 view hours is it's not easy. You don't sleepwalk to it. It's not like everyone gets it by default. Like right now, 10,000 views, everyone practically does get by default. But yeah, I think it's good to have something where you've actually got to get proven engagement.
Yeah, I mean, we've all been there. We all were there. We all started from nothing. There was never any partnership that was offered in the beginning. It's fine if you're really passionate about it. I always tell upcoming people who want to start a YouTube channel, do your channel for fun and then figure out the rest, because you really don't realize how little really comes in compared to how much work you really have to put in.
Oh, definitely. You know? It's definitely not worth it when it comes to the hours you put into these channels.
But that's always the big joke. That's the big inside joke of YouTubers, isn't it? It's always like the opus that we pour our heart and soul and into. Nobody watches, and then you trip down some stairs, and that's the one that goes viral.
That's a good point. Actually, I like that. That's a good way to say it. Yeah, that's exactly.
It's always the one that you don't want to have take off. The ones that you love.
The other good point about this is that if YouTube can convince the advertisers that it is worth advertising on YouTube, they're going to increase the number of advertisers. They're going to increase, right? And they can tell all advertisers that all the people that are monetized, all the people that have ads, their channels are watched. These are the people that put in work. These are the people that we have personally okayed. There's no Logan Pauls in this group anymore. And that's going to give the advertisers
we hope so.
Confidence. Well, yeah, of course, there's always going to be a Logan Paul.
Yeah.
But this is going to give the advertisers more confidence to in the future. Of course, it's not going to happen overnight. To put money into YouTube and into internet advertising and online advertising, which is it lacks that right now. Advertisers don't, the big companies, Coca-Cola, Nike, whatever, they don't. If they have $1 billion to spend on advertising, they're going to put it on television. on billboards, not on YouTube.
Well, they're moving it away from television into the internet, no question. But they do want to know that PewDiePie isn't gonna like say I like Nazis or something, or have Logan Paul, you know, laugh at a dead body when they put their ads next to it. That's kind of where they've had these, you know, these ad boycotts of YouTube, trying to, you know, get YouTube to exercise more control. And this is maybe YouTube reacting to that. But the end benefit is that so long as you're not doing anything that can predictably trigger those kind of you know, those adpocalypses that we've had over the last year, you know, which it sounds like Google's trying to control a little bit more. The payoff is there, you know. And if you want to be a commercial YouTuber, that option is probably going to improve, so long as you're serious about it. And if you just want to go and get a crazy message out there and be heard, or maybe be heard, maybe I don't know what they'll do with the algorithm, but you can definitely put anything up, and promote it yourself.
I heard a theory, or I actually was reading actually watching somebody's letter that he was reading out to us that he emailed to YouTube, and he was actually saying how YouTube should, or Google should implement a 3-tier type advertising system type of deal, where it's like one group style is advertisers don't care what their stuff is advertised on, they don't care. Then there's like the middle range, and then there's the super sensitive family oriented range where you can select when you sign up for YouTube advertising or Google advertising. You can select where you want your type of videos placed. And I was listening to that, I'm like, you know, that's not a bad idea. Radio does that all the time.
I would be shocked if they don't already do something like that.
Well, they do have you heard what happened to Logan Paul. You know who his punishment was.
Well, he got taken off YouTube Rev, the preferred preference.
And the preferred preference. Hey, Akasan, did you even know that existed? I didn't even know that existed.
Yes and no. I remember hearing that briefly like a year ago, and I'm like, well, fuck, that's not me. So like I completely forgot about that afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah, so apparently, and maybe if you guys want to share some information, I think I shared this the other day in a video, but I always hear when I read, you know, newspaper articles about YouTube that we apparently make $3 to $7 per 1,000 views.
What?
Right, that's what they say, and I'm like, where's that number coming from? Because
not even close.
I once made $3 or $4 on per 1,000 views on one particular video, and it was really weird. It never happened before. I usually make 1 or 2 if I'm lucky.
Yeah, 1 or 2. It's always been 1 or 2. Yeah. But
then after I found out about this preferred thing, I think those are the people who are making the 3 to 7 that they're talking about.
That would make sense, yeah, because if I remember, PewDiePie's contract was vastly different from ours. So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
So the preferred people get the 3 to 7 maybe per 1,000.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you and me, they get 1 2.
Yeah,
and we're not even tiny. So there's maybe another level. I think that's actually lower than ours.
Right. Well, on top of that, we also now have that option of how many ads we want to throw into our videos and what part of the video. And so I get a little bit more money than the average YouTuber because my videos are extremely long. I'm putting out like 20-minute videos, and now right,
that's 20 minutes. That's like an MTV video to us.
Yeah, but back in the day, early YouTube, people used to get on me about that and said that wasn't cool, but I'm actually being rewarded for that now
because of engagement.
Watch time, because my fan base is engaged a lot more, but at the same time I can also drop in more ads and people are fine with that. That was actually something that Charla brought up to me a few years ago when we collaborated, and she was telling me about the whole dropping ads in the middle of her videos, and people are fine with it. So
really, how many ads do you put into like a 20-minute video?
Well, I'm not gonna put like 4 or 5, but I put like one in there. So that's 10 minutes. It's a good break time. It's fine.
If it's over 10, if it's over 20, I might put in 1 in the middle, but I usually put 1 in the beginning, 1 in the end, and that's it.
Yeah.
But I know some people who do like they'll do 1 every 5 minutes, which is really
yeah, that's a little much. Yeah, it's a little too much. Yeah, but no, I mean, I think we're all in agreement here. This isn't a big situation, but what I encourage smaller channels to do is really go out there and let people know. I made a video on this earlier. It's up right now on my channel, and I told smaller channels to stake their case in that video, talk about their channel, what their goal is. You know, how many subscribers are they under? They got 30 days to do this. How many subscribers do they need, or how many hours do they need, and why people should check out their channel. So use this to their advantage, basically.
Right, that's a good point.
Support other people trying to do the same thing if you think they deserve support. I mean, that's how it was back in the day. You know, people didn't try to do it all by themselves. You know, it's I think it'd actually be really cool if we actually see more cooperation among creators.
Let me answer a good comment. Scattered Thought says, a lot of people still don't get that this is not really hurting small channels. And Scattered Thought's example, how many small channels will just stop making videos and stop watching videos? You know what? If you are so easily dissuaded, you don't have it. Because what's going to happen? Someone's going to leave you a mean comment or make a video against you, and you're going to quit anyway. Because if this is going to stop you, then you're not cut out to be on.
Yeah, if those $5 were not getting $5 immediately was going to be a problem, then yeah. And a lot of people. I was going to say, a lot of people tend to forget. Well, the smaller channels might forget that the threshold, unless it's changed, the threshold is $50.
It's $100, I think.
Is it $100 now
to get paid?
God damn! See, like it takes a while. Yeah. When we started, it was $50, I think, and I'm like, damn. Well, this will be a few years till I can get $50 from Google. But yeah, wow. Okay, so it takes a while, guys, but that's the whole point, I think.
But and again, as we're going back, if your whole motivation for putting up, you know, videos on a Twinkie channel is getting the Twinkie and not posting the videos, yeah, you're never gonna last. So that's it, pretty much. It's
Scattered Thoughts. I don't really understand your argument. Basically, YouTube is telling you to put in some time. You know, if you like making videos, make videos. If you're only doing it because you want $100, then you're better off working at McDonald's. You know,
and not even that. I think YouTube, if anything, is just Google's. They're just like, why do we need to assign the system to process, to keep track of so many smaller type of channels? When they opened up the partnership to everybody in the beginning, I was like, what the hell? Like, why? You know?
Well, you know, they could handle it then, but they can't handle it anymore. There's no one to keep your eyes. I mean, you've got people who can manage Logan Paul, but you can't. You cannot afford the staff it would require to watch everybody and everyone's channel and make sure no one's doing crazy shit.
The other thing is that if you're looking for a quick buck without so many views or whatever, there's, I think, what's it called, Plex. There's a bunch of platforms now. There are actual alternatives now. You can go out if you don't want to. People come to YouTube because it's got the biggest audience, it's got the most potential. That's why you come and put your video here instead of other platforms. But fact is, if you want to go on, you know, if you want to do video gaming videos, Twitch is a great platform now. If you want to make a quick buck, there's a bunch of platforms that will give you a quick buck for putting on a crappy video.
Absolutely, Patreon as well. I mean, you look at some of my friends like Jessica Negri, a very popular cosplayer, the queen of cosplay. Some people call her that. She recently got like 1 million subscribers on YouTube and barely noticed for because it's not her biggest business factor. AdSense is like the least good, her least favorite place to make money. Most of her money comes through Patreon, doing special videos and all that stuff. She's made a lifestyle off of that, and then later YouTube, kind of for fun, so to speak. So
really, and she makes all her money from Patreon.
I'm sorry?
She makes all her money on Patreon.
I would say she makes the majority of her money on Patreon.
And what does that bring in? Do you remember? Do you know?
No idea, but it's pretty damn high. I think she hit it because it's that high at this point. I'll put it another way. There's a good affiliates of mine, friends of mine, who do generally reaction videos to TV shows, and they only have 250,000 subscribers, which is actually good. It's really good, but they make the majority of their money through Patreon, and that's about 30-40 grand a month. So
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's where people do. The advertising is on YouTube, the commercial is on YouTube, the meat is in Patreon, and that's kind of where things are going. I'm doing Patreon, and it's not close to YouTube money, but YouTube money really isn't YouTube money, considering I still have a regular real job that I need to maintain. So,
Right.
but in the future, you know, putting into it, another way for a lot of people that can't really see this in YouTube eyes is $5 is essentially 5,000 views on YouTube in some sense. So if you get a $5 pledge on Patreon, you've already done what might take you a long time to get on YouTube. So those are other things to think about as well.
That's true.
Yeah.
So Akasan, are you going to be staying with us for the whole 4,000 hours? Because that's what I understand we're going to have to continue this for.
I'm going to stay with
you to make my
like
hours,
4,000 seconds, maybe.
How long have we been on, actually? I don't even know.
Enough for me to advertise you. There you go.
It's just past midnight now, so I think we
should probably wrap it up. But long story short, it's not a big deal. If you like doing YouTube, do YouTube. Don't stop doing YouTube because this is just a silly reason. But if this makes you stop, then you probably shouldn't be doing YouTube in the first place.
Absolutely.
Right?
I'm so angry. I'm so angry. This is an outrage.
And you know,
I can't do it.
I know a lot of people are like, oh, YouTube's evil and they're just fucking over the little guy, but it isn't really about that. It's about making it healthy. You know, you gotta get rid of some of the luggage and make sure that you grow.
Victor, did you just call small channels luggage?
Yes. Oh, no, that was bad. That was bad. That's the rum talking. No, you got to make sure that you're growing a healthy business, and that means you've got to make sure we are employees in a way.
Google should be a socialist paradise. It should be equality. In fact, they should promote the smallest channels so that everything is evened out.
Shout outs to Kel Preston, by the way, who did a Smash Our Pass video on myself and Victor, actually.
What? Really?
Yep. He should probably check it out.
Oh my God. I'm scared of that. Okay. All right, Kel Preston. Thanks for nothing, I'm thinking, but
I enjoyed it.
All right, I'll check it out.
I recommend you check it
Everyone, this is Akasan. He popped in unscheduled. He's also the Flash and Aquaman.
There you go. That's what
I loved your cosplay of Aquaman, man.
Thank you.
Very cool.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Very cool. Are you looking forward to the Avengers on May 17th?
I will be there, man. What? The 17th?
Isn't it May 17th?
May the 4th.
May the 4th, is it? Oh, okay.
Star Wars Day, yeah. Unless it's the 17th in Japan, but no, I think you're thinking about Black Panther, sir.
Oh, Black Panther, February 17th.
17th, Black History Month. There you go. There you go. Yeah, yeah.
So many more things we can talk about. Hey, great! Thanks for coming on, man. We should have you on again.
Hey, my pleasure. Yeah, thank you so much. I figured that I would make the pool just a little bit younger, just a little bit, just so the people tuning in can be like, well, these guys don't know what they're talking about.
Well, this is a rainbow coalition this time. We got the white guy, we got the Hispanic guy, we got the black guy. Right? We got Aquaman.
I feel like we should be dancing in the background on In Living Color.
Change, folks. This is the America Trump didn't want, folks.
Yeah. Fight the power.
In Japan. Thanks, Logan Paul.
You did this to us. Irresponsible Logan Paul.
Thanks to everyone who checked us out. We don't do live shows often, but actually, Hiko does a live show every Sunday night about Japanese news.
I have nothing better to do.
Right. And I'm going to start up doing probably a weekly. Before Akasan even mentioned this, I'm thinking of doing a weekly, maybe Saturday night or Friday night show. Maybe it'll depending on when I have work on the next day. But it's starting in February.
Good.
Please look for that. Kind of like This Week in Japan.
I like that.
Last week in Japan, like a last week in like this week, last week, kind of John Oliver kind of thing. What happened last week? Rounding it up.
That's a good idea. No, I mean, that's a whole nother thing. We didn't really talk about it that much, but YouTube has given everybody the tools to live stream. You can get a huge following if you just have your own little live stream every week and getting people to tune in.
Makes a lot more sense now. Yeah.
Yeah.
We should come back and talk about this more.
I have a laundry video coming out after this one, so look for it. And a haircut video coming out next week. Look for that. People love the haircuts, man. Hey, by the way, Akasan, if
If
you
you've got
want,
it, yeah.
I will pay $100 to let me film your haircut.
It costs a lot more to keep it.
I know it does. Hey, Hiko, thanks a lot for coming on suddenly. We all got jobs in the morning though, so we better get going.
Yep.
Yes.
But thanks again for everybody watching. We're just gonna peace out here. Peace out, everyone.
Take care.
In the next future.
Later.
And links to the channels in the description. I'll add those right now. Good night, guys.
Thanks, Reddit Nation.